Hi everybody, I'm Aaron Hernandez. Welcome to another Deckbox Top 10. We're continuing our Top 10s for War of the Spark. We're going colorless this time, talking about the artifacts and the lands. Some pretty sweet cards in here, but the big thing is you can put them all over the place. They're colorless, and in particular, I think the lands are going to see play all over the place.
Yeah, the lands, I'm super impressed by the lands in the set.
But that's not where we're starting.
No, we're not starting with lands.
I will admit to the fact that we struggled to get 10 cards in the colorless list.
We all agreed. It was a challenge.
That we all agreed.
I think the big thing is that there were like 15 colorless cards or something like that. I am still pretty excited about most of these cards. The number 10 God Pharaoh statue is probably the only one that's kind of marginal for me. So God Pharaoh statue, 6 mana for a legendary artifact. Spells your opponent's cost 2 more to cast. At the beginning of your end step, each opponent loses 1 life.
So the fact that this affects creatures, right? Because creatures are spells, so making every creature cost 2 more is interesting, right? Against your mono red decks, your mono white decks, right? Snubport Sentry costing 3, it gets worse. But the fact that this is 6 mana,
kills it.
Is makes it difficult. Now, I think we've reached a critical mass of colorless cards. That it's possible that we could be playing. We could see a colorless deck that splashes a few colors for removal, but is mainly colorless.
I think it falls on the wrong spot of the curve for that deck. I'm really excited about that deck. I think that deck's going to be really sweet. I think our next 2 cards slot into that deck.
Yeah.
But
I think in this you'd rather play Immortal Sun and draw an extra card.
Or Ugin.
Or Ugin, yeah.
I mean, there's a plethora of other things you'd want to play over this. Like it has such a marginal effect.
It's going to be a pain in the butt in limited, though.
Absolutely.
I also could see it seeing play in some artifact hate decks in EDH.
Yeah, I see this showing more as an EDH deck sort of thing because it's slowing the game down. It's kind of dictating other things, but it's also putting a clock on each of your opponents.
Very slow.
So,
very slow clock.
In limited, it just shows up and it's kind of a win more card.
Yeah.
Right. It's. If you're winning and you play God Pharaoh statue,
it
doesn't really do much else. If you're behind, this card does stone nothing.
Would it change if it said you gained a life and your opponent lost a life?
Well, I think that would help.
Yeah.
It would definitely change.
But it doesn't. So it's just that 6 mana kind of do very little cards.
I'm more excited about Manna Geode on number 9.
Love Manna Geode.
It's a mana rock.
Aaron, you like mana rocks?
I love mana rocks.
Please tell us about Manna Geode.
So Manna Geode is a 3 mana artifact that when it enters the battlefield you scry 1. But the most important thing, of course, is that it taps for mana of any color.
Yeah.
It's one of the best mana lists they've printed in a good long time.
I mean, it's manalith with a scry. It doesn't enter the battlefield tapped. It's just in. It's usable right away.
I think it's one of several cards that are important for this limited format that we're going to be in. Mana fixing is going to be important. So having a 3 mana artifact that fixes your mana.
For a Ravnica set, there is not a lot of fixing in this set. And I think a lot of times you're going to be in 2 colors, but then you're going to open a Planeswalker or a removal spell that you're going to want to splash. There's a lot of good removal, particularly in black, that's very splashable. And then a bunch of the Planeswalkers are splashable as well. And I think Manna Geode is going to be a big part of being able to cast those. I think you're going to play the first one a good chunk of the time and maybe even play 2 in your control decks in limited.
Yeah, absolutely.
And same with the next card on the list. Number 8, Gilt Globe. 2 mana artifact. When Gilt Globe enters the battlefield, draw a card, so it replaces itself. And then 2 tap, sacrifice Gilt Globe, add 2 mana of different colors to your mana pool.
So this is just another in a really long line of
it's an
eggs. Yeah.
Terrarian callback.
Yeah.
But instead of getting the draw on the sacrifice, you get the draw on the end of the battlefield.
I do think that this is going to be a really important glue card for Standard. There's been Sai, Master Thopterus, has still been in the format. He's an incredibly powerful card that just hasn't had the support. In particular, you need some 2 mana artifacts to pump out your Thopterus. You had Treasure Map.
Yeah.
But you need another one. You really need another cheap one, and Gilt Globe gives that to you. I don't know for sure that there's a deck there, but I hope there is, because artifact decks are sweet.
It's certainly a potential. It's another budget option for anybody playing fun artifact things in Pauper.
Yeah.
Because Chromatic Stars are still $6 to $7, and for Pauper, that is steep.
Well, and these cards will also periodically see play if you are like we were talking about a base colorless deck where you're kind of splashing.
Right.
Yeah. Chamber Sentry. Get that 5-color deck going.
There you go. Yeah, if there's a 5-color deck, you'll probably play them.
Number 7.
Now we start getting into some. Now we get talking
serious
lands.
now.
Yeah, the power level definitely jumps right here with Mobilized District. It's a colorless land. For 4 mana, you can activate it, and it becomes a 3/3 citizen creature with vigilance.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't actually notice the vigilance the first time.
Has
I like
vigilance.
that a lot. It is still a land. This ability costs 1 less to activate for each legendary creature and planeswalker you control. So I think that this is all going to be a lot closer to Mishra's Factory than people are giving it credit for. I think in a lot of standard decks, it's going to be a really effective man land. I think that you will be able to put some controlling planeswalkers like Teferi and Kaya and the other Teferi and stuff like that in play, but not necessarily have a finisher. That's pretty common. And you can just get in there for 1 or 2 mana with your district.
There are no creature lands in standard right now, I believe.
No.
I think that this is one of those cards that you'll see people like Alion Trazi start to play with, right? He puts it in a Chromatic Lantern deck so that it still taps for the right color mana. But, you get 4 legendary creatures or planeswalkers on the battlefield. Its activated ability costs 0.
The first time I read this card,
there's no point where the reduction stops.
Yeah, I was super excited when I was like, you can activate it for free if you have enough legend. What?
Yeah.
And I've read it a couple times, and it was the hardest one for me to evaluate because I'm not sure how consistently you're going to be able to activate it. But then at the same time, it doesn't really matter because it's similar to Stalking Stones in its activation cost.
Yeah.
And the downside is it's still end of turn, but the creature has vigilance, so it's kind of like your.
You can activate it during your opponent's turn.
You can activate to attack, so you can still tap it for mana.
I actually think that this is going to be see a lot of blue-white play. Just with 5 mana Teferi in play, it is 3 mana to activate, and you get 2 of it back.
Yeah,
and
it still gets to tap for mana.
And it still gets to tap for mana.
Yeah.
And,
it gives you that ability to be aggressive
or
attack.
Block. It gives you a blocker.
Yeah,
you can activate it during your opponent's turn. It gives you a blocker.
Yeah. Definitely. If you're stretching for colors, I can see maybe not playing this. But if you are either blue-white or blue-black, I think in particular, I think blue-white. I don't know if that's necessarily better than Esper, but you have some more Wrath options now.
You can also easily play 1 to 2 of these and have it be just like an extra way to finish a game.
Absolutely.
And it's not legendary, so you can play more of them out. Number 6 on the list is also a land, Emergent Zone, a colorless land, taps for colorless mana, 1 colorless tap, sacrifice Emergent Zone. You may cast spells this turn as though they had flash.
This card's exciting.
This card is interesting. The fact that you have to sacrifice it.
It is a one-off.
It's a one-off.
Yeah.
But it's a powerful effect.
It is a powerful effect.
It's all your spells.
Yeah.
All of them. Creatures, sorceries, enchantments, planeswalkers. You name it.
I wonder if this sees plays in Tron. I'm just throwing it out there. I wonder if this is one of those one-ofs that ends up in Tron so that they can instant speed Ulamog, instant speed Oblivion Stone.
It's terrifying.
Yeah.
That's just it. It's
Worm
terrifying.
Coil
I think all of these lands, honestly, in my opinion, I think all of these lands have potential to see play in older formats.
If you have this and Tron in play, you can sack this during your opponent's turn to instant speed a Worm Coil into play.
How about this in Amulet?
Yeah. I mean, Amulet always likes to find lands that they can play.
And they already
Being
play
able to tutor
Crucibles.
up's really
And
nice.
just, ugh.
Definitely being able to tutor this up, I think, is pretty sweet. And just anything where you have some incentive to play at instant speed, so you're playing some counter spells or you're controlling, but you want to play some sorcery speed effects as well. Being able to play your Teferi when they played around your counterspell or whatever is really cool.
The fact that it's the same cost as Quicken.
Speed.
Yeah, it's the same cost as a Quicken.
Yeah.
It doesn't give you the card draw, but you can play this in pretty much any deck. It gives you this awesome ability to fight against the control decks.
Yeah. Now the fact that you have to sacrifice it, I think, is going to be its major downfall. So you're setting yourself backwards mana wise to cast spells at instant speed. But I mean, maybe at the point when you need it, it's important. So, what's number 5?
Number 5.
Karn's Bastion. It's another rare land. Taps for colorless. 4 tap proliferate.
This I really like.
This card is just planeswalkers in the set. now we proliferate in the set. You have a land that proliferates over and over again. Just
this is going to see a ton of EDH play as well.
Oh, absolutely.
I think that is pretty good. A pretty good shot to see standard play as well.
This card probably sees play in all formats.
You think so?
Like, what format doesn't have counters somewhere?
I mean, 4 mana to activate is a little steep for Modern, in my opinion. But I definitely think it's good enough. I definitely think it's good enough for Standard. It's really good in EDH, and it's free value in Limited, right? Mm-hmm.
Especially in Limited, it's going to have Planeswalkers everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I actually think people are undervaluing Proliferate in this Limited format. I think that getting the extra activations off your Planeswalkers is a bigger deal than people.
Very important.
It's going to be huge.
So this is one of the other reasons that I was wondering if a colorless deck could exist in Standard with like Chromatic Lantern, and you can just play a ton of Planeswalkers, Chromatic Lantern. You've got your mana fixing and some of your mana rocks.
Well, and then there's you can also play the land that taps for colored for Planeswalkers.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then so if you had Chromatic Lantern and Manna Geode.
And Gateway Arch, right? Doesn't Gateway Arch tap for any color?
Well, there's several gates that do, so yeah. You've got at least 3 or 4, and then there's Plaza of Harmony and whatever.
Plaza of Harmony, that's the one I was thinking of.
Plaza of Harmony, you have to play other gates.
Yeah.
Okay. To make it work. But
I mean, I actually don't think the mana is hard. I think the whether the spell base is consistent enough is a question for whether that deck is a thing.
It's certainly something to think about. Yeah. And it's probably play Psy.
Yeah. Number 4, Mougins Condren. X spell. Mougins Condren enters the battlefield with X +1/+1 counters on it. If damage would be dealt to Mougins Condren while it has a +1/+1 counter on it, prevent that damage and remove that many +1/+1 counters from Mougins Condren.
I'm glad
you can cast this for 0.
You buy your spirits. Slash your Kieran. You got it?
I didn't.
Did you get yours?
Because that is not good.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
But with Oketra, you can cast this for 0 and get a 4/4.
I think it'll see some standard play.
That.
I think it will too. I mean, it's not quite as powerful as Walking Ballista.
No.
But I think it's more powerful than Endless One.
Yeah, I agree. Both of which saw play.
Both of which saw play. So both of which still see play.
Well, and the resilience of being able to just take off the counters is pretty nice.
Yeah, and with Proliferate being a very common theme in the set, it grows as you proliferate, right? It's just a free card to proliferate every time you want to. So there's the green creature that every time a land enters the battlefield, you can proliferate. So you cast this for 1, and it just grows.
And then you can activate your Karn's Bastion.
Yeah.
At just a single X, it's going to be pretty efficient at most points on your curve, too. It'll be really easy to fit it in as a double spell, which is going to be relevant in some places. So to talk about what Matt was talking about earlier, there's a Kieran from Kamigawa block that says whenever you cast a spirit, you destroy all permanents with the same converted mana cost as that spirit. So it's kind of a build your own Armageddon.
Yep.
You play the spirit, you cast a 0 mana.
I assume it says non-land permanent.
No,
it says permanent.
No, there's a reason.
It says
destroy all permanents.
Mm-hmm. So if you cast this for 0,
you destroy all lands.
You destroy all the lands.
Yeah.
/ other 0 mana spells.
Mox Opals, Hangerback
Chalice
Walkers, Chalice of the Voids.
Yeah. It's probably not good enough. I ain't gonna lie. The number
it's something to think about.
I
only bought 4. I'm not one of those people. I just bought 4.
All right, we're reaching. We're going deep down the rabbit hole, but I love going deep down the rabbit hole.
It scales.
Yeah, no, it's interesting.
Takes care of all your problems.
Worth mentioning.
Yeah.
The on to the Planeswalkers.
What's more worth mentioning?
Ugin himself. Ugin the Ineffable.
Ineffable.
6 mana for a 4 loyalty.
You can't be effed. I'm sorry.
Somebody had to
joke. Somebody had to make it.
And of course it was you.
Of course it was me.
But anyway, Ugin's a 6 mana Planeswalker with 4 loyalty.
Your favorite ability.
My favorite ability. Colorless spells you cast cost 2 less to cast. So you can play 0 mana Gilt Globes. But I actually really like his plus. Exile the top card of your library face down and look at it. Create a 2/2 colorless spirit creature token. When that token leaves the battlefield, put the exiled card into your hand. It's kind of bodies. It's kind of card draw. It's a little clunky on kind of both halves because, just +1 to make a 2/2 is pretty solid.
+1 to make a 2/2 that draws you a card?
It's maybe what Megamorph should have been.
It's not efficient card draw, but it is a strong ability.
I mean, it's not efficient card draw most of the time. But it can be efficient.
It can be if they're killing all your things.
If you're producing a creature, so it creates a blocker for Ugin, which is important, right? He can protect himself.
Well, this Ugin protects himself exceedingly well because the other ability that I didn't mention, -3, destroy target permanent that's one or more colors. So if you have one threat, you can just kill it. You can plus him to block because he reduces colorless spells. You can play a 2/2 Conjurant the same turn. Which is pretty sweet.
So if you cast the Conjurant for 0, but you have this on the field, your cast just for 2?
It's a 2/2.
Okay.
But X is still 0.
But X is still 0.
So converted mana cost is still 0. So when you have your Celestial Kirin out, it's still true.
Oh my god.
I'll see myself out.
Yeah. I made the F joke.
I think this card will see. I don't think you necessarily need to be using the static ability on this card. I think this card will see play just as a finisher.
Absolutely. It's powerful enough on its own. You're probably still playing this in a deck that's going to run Gilt Globe.
Creates a 2/2.
It's just such good value. Right? You get a 2/2, you draw a card for free.
You draw your Conjurant, you play your 2/2, you have 2 2/2s.
Yeah.
You win.
It's pretty
Bears
sweet.
win. Number 2, Karn the Great Creator.
What does he make?
4 mana, legendary planeswalker Karn, comes in with 5 loyalty counters. Static ability, activated abilities of artifacts your opponents control can't be activated. +1 until your next turn, up to 1 target non-creature artifact becomes an artifact creature with power and toughness equal to its converted mana cost. -2, you may choose an artifact card from your artifact card you own from outside the game or in exile. Reveal that card and put it into your hand.
These cards are so many words.
I think every card, we got to figure out the longest, most wordy cards and make Daniel read all of them.
So the -2 lets you go get artifacts from your sideboard.
Which is really sweet.
Which is extremely interesting. Because
or artifacts that you already exiled with Karn, Scion, and Urza.
Or artifacts that you exiled or have been exiled.
Yeah. I like that he synergizes with the other cards.
That's interesting. Really cool. But the fact that you can now play, again, this colorless deck is slowly coming together, and I'm interested to see if it shows up.
The pieces are there.
Your 15-card sideboard is now 15 artifacts that you can go get with Karn the Great Creator. So your opponent is playing Planeswalkers, you go get your Sorcerer's Spyglass, put it into play.
Which you can play for 0 mana off your Ugin.
Which you can play for 0 mana off your Ugin. Yeah, and your opponent can't activate artifacts, which is also interesting.
The one-sided Stony Silence is really cool.
Mm-hmm. So are treasure tokens artifacts?
Yeah.
Yep.
So they cannot be sacrificed to mana.
They are shut down.
That is accurate.
We've got a local player
that's a pretty powerful card. Ugin's a pretty powerful card. So what comes in at number 1?
Number 1 is a card that goes in everything. That is why it is number 1.
And in every format.
Blast Zone. Blast Zone is a land. When it enters the battlefield, with a charge counter on it. You can tap it to add a colorless mana. You can pay XX and tap it to put X charge counters on Blast Zone. So what are we doing with these charge counters? Well, we're paying 3 mana to tap and sacrifice Blast Zone to destroy each non-land permanent with converted mana cost equal to the number of charge counters on Blast Zone.
Ratchet land.
There's a lot to process here. The fact that XX can be anything, mm-hmm. right? So you can add 1, 2, 3, like however much mana you have, you can scale it up. You can do it bit by bit. You can do it all at once. It's a land, so there are a lot more ways to tutor it out of your deck. I think this is a card...
And it can be attacked.
Yeah, I think this is a card that Annular Titan wants to play.
Absolutely.
I think this is a card that we'll see play in Standard, Modern, Legacy, Vintage, EDH. Excuse me. I think it's going to see play everywhere. Limited? Absolutely.
No.
You're going to have
an interesting
thing
in
Modern... It doesn't take a slot. You get a land that destroys permanents.
Yeah, it's a Ratchet Bomb or an Engineered Explosives. Like, I wonder how many decks just replace this. I
don't know if it replaces, because, like, Explosives, if you're against, say, Affinity, any of the versions that are out there, anything with 0 mana cost stuff, this can't... It can hit them, but you have to do work for this to hit the lowest level stuff. Like, it's not going to hit Hangerback Walker. It's not going to hit Ballista.
Sure.
It's not going to hit those things, which for
not being
some
able
of those
not
decks,
being able to hit zeros is definitely relevant.
it's a downside, but I think it's a very, like,
But if you care about
addition.
if you care about it being a land, though, it's a really big deal. For the Titan would much rather have this.
It's that layer that says, to me, this doesn't replace explosives.
So I think in Amulet Titan it replaces explosives. It's their entire deck is built around tutoring for this card.
I agree.
And they can go get it and tap enough mana to make it.
And once you have an easily tutorable version of that effect, you're not going to sideboard another version. You would rather have a different one. You can even be attacking the same deck. So you're going to attack it from
Ancient Stirring still gets you engineer explosives. So I feel like Amulet's going to play a split of these. It's maybe going to lean towards Blast Zone, but I still think they're playing at least one.
I mean, it's possible, but I think that this is going to be more pervasive than you think. I think that we're going to see this card all over the place.
Don't get me wrong. I think this card is going to be ubiquitous. Like, it's going to show up.
I think this is probably one of the most powerful cards that's printed in this set. I know that it's a card that a lot of people are talking about and a lot of people are excited about.
I personally am very excited to put it in all my green EDH decks that do not have the ability to remove all of the tokens or whatever.
They still can't remove tokens.
I can take the counter off. It's much easier. I have because you can. You also play Dark Dex combo.
Yeah.
So you can do that. Pretty
Sacrifice
easily.
your Hex Mage to your Blast Zone just so you can kill their tokens.
I use the lands. I use Thespian Stage, but
fair.
But anyway, it goes the best kind of Magic. Play EDH all the time.
5-color commander.
We'll get there.
Which is the exact opposite of the list. We are wrapping up. As you can tell, we're pretty excited about the colorless deck that maybe is coming through. There's some really powerful cards at the top end here. We're really excited to get into the other colors. You'll be hearing more from us later this week when we go into the other colors of War of the Spark. Till then, I'm Aaron Hernandez. With me, Matt and Daniel. You guys have a good one.
Nice evening.